Hello children, in the last class we have completed lesson number 1. I hope you all must have done the homework given to you. In today's EVS 1 class, we are going to learn the second lesson, the interrelationship between living things. Children, I hope you all had your breakfast. What did you had today? What was a special dish your mother prepared? Yes? Idli, dosa, poha, paratha, etc. etc. So, many varieties of food. Out of these, any one you must have had today, isn't it? Yes? So now tell me, all these food items are basically made out of which products? Yes, they are the products of plants. Look at the pictures here. The rice plants give us rice. Wheat plants give us wheat. Plants give us vegetables and fruits also. Plants are very useful to us. That is, plants give us rice, wheat, vegetables, fruits, etc. So, we can say that we are completely dependent on the plants for food items. Not only the breakfast, in lunch and dinner also we include plant products. Yes, children? And many of the plants are having medicinal values too. Can you name them? Yes, tulsi, lemongrass, ginger, turmeric, adulsa, it is also known as vasaka. So many plants, many more plants are having medicinal values. So, plants also give us fibers to make clothes. Example, cotton, jute. So, students, by all these examples, we can come to a conclusion that all the living things on the earth are dependent on each other. That is, there is interrelationships between living things. Look at the textbook here. We have many needs like food, water, air, clothes and shelter. All these are met in our surroundings. Students, are you able to understand it? That is, every living thing needs water, but the quantity varies from animals to animal. You know that butterflies feed on the nectar of flowers. Can a frog do the same? You mean the frogs cannot eat the nectar? No, the frogs eat small insects to satisfy their hunger. Similarly, a sheep can eat leaves of shrubs, but tiger can't. The tiger eats the animals that it catches its prey like deer, bison, nilgai, etc. Look at the fishes. Fishes can breathe in water, but can a pigeon do that? No, because fishes are aquatic animals. They live in water. So, fishes cannot survive outside the water. So, children, you can understand. Similarly, lotus, bulrush, all these are aquatic plants. They grow in water. Children, look at the picture here. This is lotus plant and also the bulrush plant. So they are known as aquatic plants. They live in water. But other plants like lemon, mango, coconut tree, they cannot grow in water. They are growing on the land. So we can say that the plants are of different types. Students, there is one experiment given in your textbook. You can try this at home also. What you have to do is take two small container. You can take plastic container also. Label them 1 and 2. That is, the first container you label it as 1 and the second one you label it as 2. Fill them 3/4 with soil. Make the soil moist enough to sow the seeds. Children, you can take moong, matki or any type of seeds. So, sow 2 sprouted moong seeds in each box. So, you give 2 spoons of water to the soil of the first container. So, every day you give only 2 spoons of water. Give 4 spoons of water to the other container 4 times a day. So, do this for 6 days. Children, you know that when you sow the seed starts growing. Okay. So, it germinates and it starts growing, and after few days it grows into a plant. So, now what is the difference in this is the seeds what you saw in both the containers are same, but the quantity of water you gave to the container, that is these two containers are different. In the first, that is the first container, you were giving 2 spoons of water every day, but to the second container you were giving 4 spoons of water, that too 4 times a day. So what will you see? So the plants in the first container are growing well, but the plants in the second container started rotting. So it have begun to rot. Why is that so? So children, you can say that the plants that are not aquatic plants cannot grow in marshy areas. That means the plants which are not aquatic, which cannot live in water, they will rot if you put more water into that container. But if the plants are given sufficient water, how much is required for them, that much water if you give, that plants can grow properly. So, by this experiment, we can understand that all the plants are not the same. Some are aquatic plants and some are growing on the ground. So, if the plant which is growing on the ground, it requires less water, and if the same plant is kept in water, it cannot grow, it will rot, and finally it may die also. But the plants which is growing in water, that is those who are aquatic plants, they grow very well in the water. But if we keep that plant on the ground, it will not grow properly. Students, let us take the example of a tiger. Where does a tiger live? Yes, you all know the answer. A tiger lives in the jungle. Yes, in the jungle also, tiger chooses the place where all its needs are fulfilled. Children, what do you mean by that? That is, it lives in a place where tall grasses are there, so that its prey cannot see it in the grass, as it too has stripes. Children, you know that tigers are having stripes all over the body. So, it lives in a grassland, that is where there is tall grasses, that is the grasses of yellow or green colors. So it hides in the grasslands, and you know that near that grasslands many of the animals come to eat the grasses. Here, that is in the grasslands, many animals like the deer, nilgai, bison comes to eat grasses. So, when the tiger is hungry, it can catch its prey and feed on them. So, tiger also makes sure that there is water holes nearby. So, after eating the food, the tiger needs water also. So, it makes sure that when it is making its cave, it makes sure that there is water hole also, so that it can drink water whenever it is thirsty. There should be caves or hills or mountains also in that area, so that the tiger can find shelter also. So this is the example of a tiger, that we can understand by this that tiger chooses such a place to live that it has all his needful things, that is it will get food, water and shelter, so that it can live there. So in the similar way, all the animals or the animals, we can say that all living things will be found only where all its needs are fulfilled. So children, like plants, animals are also useful to us. We get milk from cow, buffalo and goat, and in Himalayan regions the yak's milk is also used by the people, and we get meat and eggs from the hen. In the same way, many other animals are also useful to us, like we get leather from the animal, and some animals are useful for carrying loads or to draw the carts. You know, the bullock cart is used to carry the heavy loads, and the horses are used to draw the carts. So animals are very useful to us. Domestic animals are also used to help with the heavy farm work in the fields, that is the Bullocks are used to plow the field, and dogs guard the houses, and sheep gives us wool. So in this way the animals are very useful to us. Now even the excreta of domestic animals is of use to human beings. The excreta means the cow dung. The cow dung is useful to the plants also. The plants are using as the fertilizers. So cow dung can be used as fertilizers, and the cow dung cakes are also made. They are combustible, means we can burn them. When you visit your village, you can see the village people are making the cow dung cakes. So these are combustible, means we can burn these cow dung cakes, and they are used as fuel. That is, when we burn the cow dung cake, it gives out heat. So people in the village are using these cow dung cakes to burn, and they can cook the food also by using these cow dung cakes. And a combustible gas called gobar gas is also obtained from cattle dung. That too is used as fuel. It burns without smoke. So cattle dung is used for plastering mud houses also. So in the villages, the people are using this cow dung to plaster their houses. So manures are made from cattle dung, and sheep pellets are good for plants. Farmers use them for growing crops. So in this way, children, the plants are very useful to us. In the similar way, animals are also very useful to us. So we can say that there is interrelationship between the living things. So we are dependent on the plants. So we grow plants for our needs, and in the same way we are looking after the animals, and we get benefit from them also. Children, just as we need animals, we need plants too. Plants give us food grains, vegetables and fruits. We love flowers too. We use them for many different purposes. We get flowers from plants. We also get cotton wool from plants to make cotton clothes. We grow plants that are useful to us. We sow seeds. We make sure that they get water. We give manure when necessary. We spray pesticides if they are attacked by insects. So children, the farmers are growing the crops. So they are growing them in a proper manner so that the plants are growing properly, and we get the crop from that plants. Plants too give us abundantly. They satisfy our needs. As I said earlier, we are completely dependent on plants for food. So we are growing plants, so the plants are giving us the food, grains, vegetables, etc. That means they are also satisfying our needs. Other living things also get their food from the environment. For example, chameleons eat insects when they are hungry. So some snakes eat mice and frogs. Tigers eat deer. Goats and sheep eat leaves of plants. Cattle eat grass. So children, we can say that all the living things are getting their food from the environment. That means they are living with the help of one another. So that is known as the interrelationship between living things. Now we'll learn one new term, arboreal. This word comes from the Latin word arbor, which means tree. Arboreal means living in trees. So children, you know the animals like monkeys and squirrels live on trees. It gives them certain advantages. That is, being at a height, they are better able to defend themselves. That is, they are protected from their enemies. Besides, they can eat the fruits of the trees to satisfy their hunger. Such animals are said to be arboreal animals. So, these animals are getting shelter on the tree and also they get fruits to eat. Unknowingly, they help the tree with whose support they live. Here also there is interrelationships. So I told you already that monkeys and squirrels, they live on the trees. So they get shelter and also they get food from the tree. But these animals are also helping the tree on which they are living. As they move around here and there in the surroundings, they spread the seeds of the fruit they have eaten through their droppings. So when they eat the fruit, some of the animals, they eat these fruits along with their seeds. So when they move here and there, they spread these seeds through their droppings. Because of this, new trees grow in different places. So these animals are helping in dispersal of these seeds. Some type of birds too find trees useful for building their nest. The birds are building their nest and they get fruits also to eat, and these birds eat the fruit along with the seed, and these seeds are taken far distances by these birds and their droppings are dropped in different places. So there the plants will start growing. So because of this, the seeds are dispersed in different places. Here children, we can say that the birds and the animals help the tree in dispersing their seeds. In the same way, the plants or the trees are giving shelter and food to the animals. So by all these examples, we understood that there is interrelationship between the animals. And when a buffalo is grazing in a grassy area, you are very likely to see an egret riding on its back. What could be the reason for that? A certain kind of egret feeds on different kinds of insects. So the grass is full of all kinds of insects. But because they are hidden in the grass, the egret cannot see them and catch them. As a buffalo treads on the grass, it frightens the insect which fly out of the grass. The egret on the buffalo's back makes no mistake in catching the fly and they will eat them up. This way, here the egret and the buffaloes are having interrelationship with each other.